Hey guys, it is time for a quick and dirty review of The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. So the basis of this book is that a baby boy is orphaned due to the murder of his parents and his older sister. He gets away because he crawls and toddles quite a bit and manages to get to the town's graveyard. There, the ghosts of the graveyard decide to take him in and protect him from the murderer that's still after him. They give him their mystical graveyard powers that allows him to see the dead and become invisible to those that are outsiders, and he can see in the dark and all kind of cool ghostly powers. The rest of the novel chronicles his growing up in the graveyard, being looked after by the ghosts and his guardian, who I'm 99.9% sure is a vampire, although it never actually says. He does eventually end up taking on his family's murderer and unraveling all the secrets of where he came from, but it isn't until the very, very end of the novel. The meat of the novel is really his adventures in each chapter, which are written in a very episodic way. Each chapter was at least a year apart, and all dealt with separate adventures. Now, at this point, I think Neil Gaiman is my favorite author because not only is he a beautiful and wonderful writer, he is a beautiful and wonderful person. I think that his writing style is awe-inspiring. The way he crafts his sentences just makes me swoon. I take a lot of inspiration from him into my own writing. However, the overall arc of the book was super disappointing. The plot is lacking in substance because each chapter is its own adventure and it just kind of lacks direction in the overall scheme of things because each chapter has its own little plot line in it. I would have loved more of the main character solving the mystery of his family's murder, other than just his guardian telling him what happened. Now, quite a bit of the mini-adventures were tied back into the ultimate conclusion of the book, but not nearly enough for my tastes. A lot of the chapters read like they were supposed to be shaping the main character, but his personality didn't end up distinct enough for that to actually work. However, in this magical world, I felt like both of his personality and the mini-adventures were highly realistic. Here's a boy who only lived in a tiny part of a tiny town and wasn't allowed outside of it. He was sheltered and confined by people that loved him, and so of course he didn't go gallivanting out trying to figure out the mystery of his parents' murder. He had hardly any interaction with living people, so it kind of makes sense that his personality is so mild and old-fashioned, seeing as he only hangs out with dead people from centuries ago. I can't believe I'm giving any of Neil's books less than a 4-star rating, but I gave The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman 3 out of 5 stars. The plot was just meh, and the characters were just meh, and I'm not going to blame it on it being a middle grade book because middle grade books can have substance and amazingness and all that kind of stuff. The writing, of course, was brilliant as always. It was just the plot and the characters that I had a little bit of trouble with. Now, I hope I don't get too much hate for giving a Neil Gaiman book 3 out of 5 stars. Please don't hate me. I really do love him. For realsies. And I will see you guys next time. Please don't send me hate. Bye!